Hello everyone. It's a little late, but I couldn't sleep, so I thought I'd get up and work on some more of my watercolor projects, and I decided to do hearts. Couple reasons. Hearts, if you know me well enough, are my favorite thing. One of my favorite things, and has been since I was a little girl. Always liked hearts. And right now I'm missing my husband, so that's another reason. And also because they're so fun. So I'm going to show you how I make some hearts. And the reason I have all my watercolor markers out is because I'm trying to see if I can get different colors and not duplicate the colors. So I know there's a little bit of a shadow because it's late, but hopefully you can still see what I'm doing. So in order to do this project, you need something that is watercolor. So you would either want a palette, a cheap palette, kids palette. You can get markers that are water soluble, which are like these that I have. You do not have to pay for an expensive set. You can get some really nice watercolor brush pens and markers on Amazon and other locations that are not very expensive. One of the reasons why I like my PRIMROSIA ones, which is 100 marker set, is because I get so many different colors, and I'll use these colors. Some people say, oh, you won't use all your colors, so only get a few. If I only bought a few, I would want more and more. So I just might as well start out with the big one. So the easiest way for me to explain this, to make a heart, is to make something that kind of looks like either a bird when you're doing a sky, like a seagull, and then at the bottom a V is one way. And then I have a brush that you can fill up with water so it stays wet. That way you don't have to be dipping this into water all the time. I mean, you may want to dip it to rinse it off, but it's not necessary. You can just wipe it off on a towel or wet wipe. So basically what I'm doing is I'm taking that either M or NV figure and just kind of drawing those colors out and bringing them around the side for a circle. Now, the reason why these hearts look like they do is because I'm trying different styles. So the great thing is that you don't have to worry about anything being perfect. You don't have to worry about the colors not being the right colors, or your shapes not being the right shapes. You just do whatever you feel works. So again, I'm going to make kind of like an M or two humps like that, and a V down here. And if you want a little more color, you can color it into like a triangle at the bottom. And that way when you start dragging this out at the top, if there's not enough to drag it out the way you want, you have to make sure your brush is wet. And that's one thing. I'm like, okay, move ink, and I'm like, why is it not moving? And it's because I haven't enough water on my brush. So you don't want to get it saturated. You just want to be able to drag out the color from those shapes that you made. And even though they come out light and subtle, they're still very, very pretty when they dry. I'll show you some in a bit. I just did them, so they're not quite dry. So let's try some darker ones. Now, you can also just make a V here, like this, and then your V at the bottom. And you don't have to do the seagull M thing at the top. You can still drag this out fine into a heart shape, just like that, and then drag your color up and down to fill in the middle. And at that point, you can start shaping these if you want them to have a different shape. So some of my earlier ones I did have little tails on them and all kinds of little things. So some of these look pretty scary, but once there's a whole process to this. This is just the basic process of creating the heart itself. I haven't even begun to decorate the hearts or, put the, I'm going to go over them with a fine liner and some other pens. I usually use something black or like a Posca. You can use a fine tip acrylic marker. You can use, let me see if I can get a tail on this one so you guys can see what I mean. So I kind of make a little tail like that and make them kind of whimsical. Once your hearts dry, if you want to put the tail on, you can. But when I do that, I want the tail to be have color in it. I don't want it to be white from the watercolor. So I'm just going back and trying to fix up these two that look kind of sad. And there's still enough ink in here, if my brush is wet, to just kind of drag that out some more and color it in some more if it's not completely dry. So that's one thing I like about these markers, is that if it's not completely dry, you can still go ahead and draw it out. So, but what I was saying earlier, after these dry, I will go back with some type of fine liner, either a fine Posca pen or a micron pen or a Uniball, whatever you have that will make some nice, fun, whimsical lines. And then we will just go through these and write over them and create the designs that we want. And this is where the fun part comes in then, because you're able to add some of your personality and whimsicality to each of the hearts. And like I said, this shouldn't be a task. This should be something that's fun and enjoyable. I have always been a night owl, but because I am funny about not being able to sleep when my husband's not here, there really haven't been that many times we've been apart in the 28 years we've been married. I just thought I'd come in here and do some of these and just see how they worked out. I have been wanting to. So this is the very easy process, and you can do this with your watercolor palette. You can do this with your markers. Whatever you have, you don't have to have the same thing. You just have to have some type of watercolor. And one of the things that I've always learned is less is more. So the less you fuss with it, the better it looks, especially when it dries. So, all right, I think I have some that are on the purple line. So I hope you guys, I think you're still in frame. This is more of a bluish, kind of like a periwinkle or something. I wish they had named these instead of just numbering them. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a swatch of each of them. And that was sort of why I had started this project to begin with. And then I thought, no, I'm not going to sit here and try to find numbers in the dark. I'm just going to make my hearts. So that's a pretty blue. And we can draw some more of that down into the middle. And let's see if we can get, yep, a cute little tail on that one. Looks nice. And see, as they're drying, you can see how they spread out a little bit. Watercolor is always really pretty after it dries. It surprises you of what kind of color kind of comes out when you do that. So as you can see, I'm doing like the little W, and I fill it in. It kind of reminded me of like drawing a few pieces of grass or something there. But that's how I'm making sure that I have enough ink to finish the heart. So, and these are going to be going on embellishment. So I know that I've been talking about doing embellishments for August and for your junk journal, and that's why I'm creating these, so that we can do these embellishments. So sometimes your video is a process to getting to that embellishment stage. So we're going to have all these hearts that can be embellishments in themselves, or they can go on collage to make other embellishments. So right here, I'm just going to do a small one. I've been trying to utilize all my space, because when I cut these out, I'm not going to leave any white. I'm going to get as close as I can. So there's another pretty blue one. All these blues are starting to look the same to me. Maybe it's because it's nighttime. Okay, let's see what else we have. I haven't used. I may have used this purple, because some of them I did put back. Okay. And for those that commented on my post about my husband, thank you. That was very nice. He is still in the hospital, but, and we're not sure when he's coming home, but he's been well taken care of. And if you've watched my videos before, you know that I have trouble walking due to a knee accident and arthritis and all kinds of fun stuff. So I can't go to the hospital right now and see him. So I'm having a little bit of a hard time dealing with that, but I'm doing what I can from home, making sure he gets a translator, making sure he gets his extra pillow, the kind of things that my husband would never bother anybody before, but that he would, you know, enjoy having. I was teasing my kids because it was taking them so long to find him a room yesterday. And I said, do I need to call and be a Karen? And my daughter's like, please, Mom, it'll be fine. But what they ended up doing, because they had no beds, I guess COVID is like crazy, they actually had to bring him a regular bed and my son a chair, reclining chair, and they slept in the ER. They found him a place in the ER, so. I wanted something that was more green, and it makes me feel like I'm getting all the same color. I don't know if you can see that bottom corner. I was gonna make another blue one, I guess. But I'm gonna make this last one, and then I'll show you what I have made, and then you can see. I am going to fix this one over here. So if you have one, let's say that you don't really like the shape of, and you need to fix it, just take a little bit of ink and put it in the direction where you need to make your fix. And then we will just draw that ink out over top of wherever the boo-boo was. And I'm going to try to make this a fancy one. And then we have it fixed. And the cool thing is it's going to have a variation of two colors. So I'm going to leave that one because I like it, even though it looks wonky. So there are my hearts in blue. Hearts in blue. This is a different heart. This is more like a fodder heart. And I'll probably make some of these too, but I just haven't had an opportunity to sit down and paint and create everything. You know, I have, now these are the first ones I did, and they're nice and dry. So let me just give you an idea of how I would decorate one of these. So I'm just going to take the middle one. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to loosely outline it like this. And then I may take and put a few little swirls on here, and then maybe some leaves, and then turn the swirls into some little wonky flowers. And then it becomes kind of like a vine. So we can do something like that. And I think I'm gonna do like a a double outline. I like that. And then this one, let's see, we will outline it like this. And I'm just going to put some dots here and some dots over here. And I'm going to put some big ones up here. And I always work in groups of odd group numbers, so that just seems to me to look more visually pleasing. And then down here where we did this, we can kind of put a loopy thing on the bottom. So we have this one. And this pink is so subtle and pretty. I just think it's so cute. And I really enjoy my hearts, that's for sure. And this is like a perfect project for me because I can decorate them any way I want. And that's cute because it goes all the way to the end. And depends on how you feel about your handwriting, if you want to do something like that. And I'm going to make a double. And then I think I'm going to make a little bit of faux stitching, if I can get it in here with the writing. Faux stitching is always fun. I love to stitch on the machine. It's just so heavy and, okay, I'm not gonna complain anymore. And then here we have a really large heart. And I didn't really have in mind decorating these, but it's perfectly fine. And this one's so soft, you can hardly see it, the color. So I want to do something that's romantical, as Darla says. Darla from Little Rascals. Do something romantical. So I'm going to stop there because I don't want to make the video too long. Thank you for always being here for me and taking the time to watch my videos. I know there's a ton of videos out there that are similar and that you may enjoy, and I really appreciate those of you that continue to come back and see me, and my new subscribers. Thank you so much, and you all have a great evening. Bye for now.